All right. Do you want to speed run the Big Ten Network feature?
Yeah.
All right. Let's speed run the Big Ten Network
speed.
feature. It was funny. Their questions to kind of start off the program was that Indiana had to address issues on both lines on complacency and then for leadership, which I literally wrote, huh? ... LOL.
Yeah.
Like that's a wild thing to say.
I mean, you see they lose Kadick and they lose West, and like from afar, you think that's going to be a big problem and a big question they have to answer. But I mean, they brought in 2D tackles, 2 DNs. They brought in Cougs, brought in 2 other O linemen as well. I mean, it's clearly needs to be addressed. I mean, if you just looked at Indiana's portal, it's clearly the narrative that you can construe from that portal class. So makes sense what they're saying. Obviously, they're trying to build a narrative and things like that. And, there's got to be some sort of question marks. They're not going to just call every team perfect.
No, I'm with it.
They'll do the same thing with Penn State, and they'll do it with Ohio State. And
no, I actually think the Big Ten Network does a really great job highlighting the teams in the conference and showing respect regardless of how good or bad the teams are going to be. I really appreciate what they do. And so I just thought leadership, specifically when you have somebody like Aiden Fisher in the room representing your program, is but I get it.
I think they're saying specifically on the lines, right? Like
Carter Smith is a 4-year starter in the Big Ten. Like Mikal Kamara is back on the defensive line. Like I thought leadership was lazy, but there's not many there aren't many questions about this team, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Like you're going to question the leadership of this Indiana football team. Like you could see that from 100 miles away.
That's one of the last things I'll question about this team. It's the leadership. I'll question Mendoza before that. To be honest.
I was going to say the first thing we got in terms of the way that they laid the show out was a double feature or double interview with Mendoza and Hemby. And within the first 2 minutes, both Mendoza and Hemby mentioned like wanting a national title. That was something Hoosier Commish pointed out. And that was like, I wrote that down here too. They're both chasing national titles, chasing development with SIG and staying in the Big Ten and all that stuff. And it's like, these dudes are not shying away from their goal. Like very similar to last year when Aiden Fisher was unapologetically telling people how like they were going to be good and win games and their goal was like multiple playoff games. Like they're doing the same thing this year. Like they're not running away from this at all.
It's the motherfucking program.
It's the program.
That's what it is. It's the program.
They talked about what it's like coming to a new team. Mendoza talked about having to earn it, having to build trust. Talked about what attracted them to Signetti. Hemby said that Sig's a winner. The program is a reflection of him, which I thought was an awesome answer.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about the guys up front. Hemby said it makes his job tremendously easier. Talked about Coogan. He said we are like Coogan is just like being that leader and talking about celebrating with the running backs today and hyping people up, and guys like Carter Smith that are just rock solid doing their job and like just high praise for the offensive line.
Oh yeah.
And then on the offense, he said it's very clear on what they want to do. The goal is to execute, protect the football.
Period. Score a bunch, because that's what they like to do. Like that's what they mean by execute. Score a bunch. Don't turn it over. Keep it simple.
We got Bryant Haynes with Jerry DiNardo and Howard Griffith. They asked him about the characteristics of a Haynes team. He said they play hard, they communicate, fast, physical, relentless, resilient. Same characteristics as all Brian Haynes, Chris Signetti teams. Talked about lessons learned from Signetti. He said, be true to who you are, speak with conviction, hold guys accountable, and to a high standard.
Mm-hmm. The program.
Talk about Aiden Fisher's communication. He said it's hefty in terms of content. He's coordinating all the front seven. Fish puts the whole thing together. So obviously, if you needed more, I guess, needed to more understanding of how important Aiden Fisher is to this Hoosier defense specifically, like he's the coach on the field. He's making all the calls. He's making all the adjustments. He's connecting the defensive line with the secondary. Like he's the guy.
Row Hardy next year. It's important for him to kind of learn under his wing.
They asked him, and this was a theme throughout the show. They called all the good teams Indiana played the big boys, and so they asked him about playing the big boys, and he said we didn't win the line of scrimmage. He said you have to produce the same way no matter who you're playing. Obviously, the coaches in that room understand the fact that they were pushed around a little bit on both lines. That's something they went out and addressed, and we'll see what happens. But they are confident they went out and addressed a lot of those needs, and they full blown understand where the
they're going to
problems
make
are.
progress for sure. How much progress they made, it remains to be seen. But it's definitely a level up from last year's in terms of quality. But yeah, it's going to be, we're not really going to know until we play Illinois and Iowa and Oregon. We're not going to know.
In terms of transfers, he highlighted Wyatt's versatility. Also, Wheeler and Ratcliffe as two guys who have made vast improvements. Obviously, that's going to happen a lot. You have, especially a defense that isn't necessarily a defense; it's more of an offense on defense where they're attacking and there's a lot of verbiage and it's a lot. Like the transfers get better as time goes on, and so those guys are going to continue to develop and get better within that system. And then they asked him about D'Angelo Pons. He talked about his competitive spirit. He said, you can't tell him he's too small to cover Jeremiah Smith. He said he wants to be great and he breeds confidence.
That's my corner. Need that at that position. You need
You
that.
really do. You really do. And it brings me back to what Pons was saying last week, where he's like, I don't like hitches caught on me in cover 3. He's like, I don't like catches. My coaches don't like catches. Nobody's allowed to catch the ball.
Yeah.
You can't do it. We got Signetti with Dave Rebzine. Asked him about changes from last year. He said he's got a lot of selfies at 5 a.m. when he's getting gas. So he's got people waiting outside the facility to take pictures, sign autographs when he goes home at night. He said they asked him how what the recognition means to him. He said it means a lot. Or the recognition for a lot of his guys like Kamara, like Fisher, like Pons, the guys who were at JMU with him. He said a lot of those guys. Sorry, I jumped ahead. They asked him about the recognition of like finally being on a stage like Indiana and like getting the respect of being the level of coach he is. And he said a lot of the guys on the list they flashed of like highest winning percentage in college football was like Ryan Day and Dabo and whoever else was on that list and Kirby Smart. He said a lot of those guys weren't even alive when he was standing on the sideline next to Bobby Bowden. So he said the mentality has changed.
Bobby Bowden had the second greatest run of any coach behind Nick Saban. So for those that don't know, in terms of the 90s, I think they finished top 3 in the AP poll for about 9 or 8 straight seasons, like something insane like that. An unreal run from Bobby Bowden. So he's had influences from arguably the 2 greatest college coaches of all time, and to have that in Indiana is just another luxury that we have. And we're speed running this, so I'm not gonna go on a tangent on how great Signetti is because we all know that. So
they asked about his fondest memories of last year. He said post coach's handshake, kind of walking back towards our fans, kind of when everything else is done, you can finally be satisfied with the game you played and kind of celebrating those moments. But he also specifically singled out Michigan State. He said there was a lot of good moments last year. They asked him how you turn the page. He said that's life. It's ground zero. Not looking to sustain, looking to improve, improvement in tempo, better execution, but it's not perfect. Talking about practice. He said he's got about 6 guys banged up that should be back. Consistency is important. Haynes and Shanahan have been with him for 10 years. He said his job is to find the edge, organize the day, purposeful prep, things of that matter.
Hell yeah.
Asked him about his message to the team. He said set standards, expectation level, accountability, and everyone has to make the bar. If you can't make the bar, you're in the wrong place. 1 play at a time, 6 seconds of play, never satisfied. You know the spiel.
Oh, I know the spiel.
You know the spiel.
I know the spiel. You all know the spiel. Every play has a life and history of its own.
Talked about they asked him if the offensive line is an improvement this year, and he said it wasn't just the offensive line and the losses. There were a lot of miscommunications, missed assignments. The line has a chance to be real, real good.
O-line or D-line? O-line?
O-line.
Hell yeah.
They asked him about the skill set of Mendoza. He said, "You'll find out."
Oh, that's wow. He doesn't say that stuff a whole lot. That
I like that one.
that
He said, "You're not
actually
going
is
to
the
get that one
most
out of me."
notable thing he said the whole interview. He got real cocky there.
Chills,
Man.
They asked him what is this is what I got that question confused with. They asked him what it was like for his defensive stars to get recognition. He says, "We don't have stars around here." He
That's
said
insane.
a lot of confidence in those guys, really good football players, better people. Glad that they created a platform for them to achieve their goals. But again, he said there are like no, we don't have stars
That's an
here.
insane coach speak right there. That is nuts. That is so cool. He shot that down so fast.
It's like these guys are really
It's
like
like
you have a bunch of stars. Like, I don't have any stars. I don't even know what you're talking about.
because every other coach would be like, yeah, like Ryan Day's a hell like he'd be like, yeah, Jeremiah Smith's the
Jeremiah
best player
Smith,
in the
yeah.
crunch. Yeah, Riley Freeman would be like, yeah, Riley Leonard's a hell of a player. Like, he wouldn't like that's insane to just say that on an interview too. Like it's supposed to be like fun and like no, he's like, no, we don't have stars.
So we don't have stars around here. What do you mean?
Who's talking
Oh, yeah, so that was great. Mike Shanahan was with Donardo next. That's about Mendoza recruiting portal quarterbacks versus high school quarterbacks. Portal quarterbacks, you could sell them on the production in the system opportunity with returning guys, portal guys. It's a little bit easier to reason or show a portal quarterback how you can build out the team in the portal versus trying to sell that vision to a high schooler who's going to have a lot of new experiences. You have somebody who has those experiences already.
Mm-hmm.
They asked him about the offensive line. He said it's great to have Benson back. Called Coogan a natural leader. Said the guy's played a lot of football.
Mm-hmm. He has. He's played a ton of it.
They asked him about playing the big boys. That was their favorite question of the episode. I said we have to be better, plain and simple. They've made some schematic changes. They have the experience of going through it. He said they're going to be subtle, probably not things that that people are going to be able to see, but things that are going to better help them deal with those environments moving forward.
100%. And with the big boys question, like I totally get it because that is like the looming question around this team, and as it should
Really,
be.
the only question.
It's the only question, right? And that's why I say stacking days, stacking weeks, stacking months, stacking years. Like it just takes time to get there, and to have those questions already. Like this is what Penn State was dealing with like 5 years ago, and to already have that where it felt like it wasn't really happening to Penn State until like year 3 or 4 of James Franklin. To have that in Indiana already happening year 2 is just insane. It just comes to show how ahead of schedule we are in terms of the program.
They asked him about being an offensive coordinator from the wide receiver room. He said he went to Signetti when Tino was hired, kind of with the idea. He said it gives the quarterback coach more time with the quarterbacks, and it ended up being a good partnership, something that worked out, something they moved forward with. So I thought that was kind of interesting that he was the one that kind of initiated that.
Mm-hmm.
And then being with Signetti a long time, he said he's great. He's very involved in the offense. He's always been striving for new things, and he's always looking to find new things, looking to find new innovations.
Yeah.
Their takeaways on the offense were that they hit some home runs on the offensive line. It's a good offensive line. Portal was a benefit. Looking at skill, this is quote, this is a dynamite team. Skill position, wide receiver group as talented as there is, coupled with run game, really good. Hemby, perfect fit. Mendoza, great presence. Other people follow him. He's a tremendous leader. He's a home run as well. Big arm, looks the part. Impressive practice he had when those guys were there.
Love it.
We then got Fisher and Pons with Howard. Asked him about how the defense is kind of an attacking defense. Fisher said it's the scheme. We're going to attack you, physicality and speed, which I absolutely love. And you get that sense watching the Brian Haynes defense plays. They're not waiting for things to happen. They're determining what's happening on the field. They asked Pons like what it's like for him because he doesn't play to his height. And he said he's always been overlooked. He plays for his family, and that's just not like he's his height is not something that he lets stop him.
Mm-hmm.
They asked Fisher about communication. He said everything goes through me, leader of the defense. They talked about the freedoms in the defense. He said discipline equals freedom. If you can make a play or if you see a play, go make it, but you better make it. So like they have the freedom to ad lib and kind of go make plays, but you better make a damn play. You better not leave the other guys in a bad spot, which I really like. And it puts a lot of like Bro Hardy's talking about pre-snap indicators and understanding the playbook, and it puts a lot of emphasis on those guys to like if you really understand what you're looking at, you can go make plays. It's very freeing.
Love that. I mean, we already knew all these things.
Yep.
I would like to see more picks this year. Is something that I would have liked to ask them if I was who was interviewing them?
Howard Griffith.
Yeah, if I was Howard Griffith, I would ask, are we going to get more picks this year?
Pons was asked about a talented secondary and specifically about Byron Baldwin Jr. He highlighted Baldwin as well as Hollywood Bell. They were asked if they play with an attitude. Pons said definitely. He said it starts with Sig, trickles down. They were asked, how do you respond to doubt? Fish says you don't. It doesn't matter. He said keep it on Twitter. That's good with me. Perfect answer.
Flawless, really.
They asked Pons if it was different for him guarding guys of different sizes. He said no.
No.
Nope. And then one word to describe each other. Pons said dog. Fisher said relentless.
These guys are funny.
And then my note was they're questioning the interior of the defensive line, which I think is a strength.
Say that again.
They were questioning the interior of the defensive line,
which they see, the team sees as a strength.
I see it as a strength.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what we've been hearing.
And the takeaway from the
proven. I mean, we're replacing an NFL talent there, and I've said this over and over again. Like, it you know, it looks good, but you know, in theory, you know, that is the biggest spot we needed to fill, besides the quarterback. And
Agreed.
you know, that's probably the two biggest question marks: the quarterback play and interior D line. Like, that's just how it is. I think they're going to be good. From what I've heard, they're going to be good. But, you know, it's a question mark at the end of the day.
And the official takeaway from the defense is nothing is forced. Nothing.
We determine the outcome.
Yep. All right. That was Indiana's feature on the Big Ten Network. That's on YouTube now on the yeah. I mean, we want to go back and hammer like Mendoza or like
no, it's okay. It's okay.
The point was like, yeah, wait and see. Like we kind of know what we have here.
That's the vibe they were giving off, was just like, you know, we're gonna come out there and we're gonna come out this year screaming, in the words of Carter Smith. So yeah, can't wait.
And I was gonna say that feature is available on Big Ten's YouTube page. So you can go check that out. It was 45 minutes. I tweeted it out. You can at Alec Keiser. Go find that link.